Okay, can you hear us now?
Wait, now this. Okay. Get it? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Yeah?
You can hear?
You love my bracelet. It's just a piece of leather with a little, with a thingy on it. This is what the whole video chat's going to be like, guys.
Okay, so everybody can hear us? Yeah.
I think they can hear us.
Okay, so
But now this picture looks weird. Is it okay?
I think it looks okay.
You're good.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jennifer Smith. I'm Lauren's editor here at Random House. So Lauren and I are going to chat for a little bit, and then about sort of the writing the book. Happy Pub Day to Lauren.
Thank you.
It's the first day.
I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you.
Thank you. It's Lauren's been a published author for like 12 hours now. So how does it feel?
Very strange, because all I've done is talk about how it feels, so I haven't really felt it, because I've just been trying to explain to people how it, I don't know, feels.
Yeah. Sorry. So, we're like sitting so close.
I know.
So the first question is, why, that's a two-parter.
Okay.
First of all, why a book? And secondly, why a novel? Because I feel like a lot of actors do like a cookbook or a memoir or a picture book, and yours has some pictures, but
Mine does have some
mostly
pictures.
words.
I really wanted to do something. This is a story I wanted to tell. I don't entirely know where the creative impulse to do things comes from. I really don't. I don't know. I don't know why I woke up and wanted to be an actor, but I knew that I did not want to write a memoir. I knew I did not want to write a cookbook.
Yeah, that's good.
I
I don't like to cook, so I would have been much less interested
do
in
like
that.
to cook, but I would rather read somebody else's cookbook. And I really wanted to talk about what it was like I wanted to try to tell a story about what it's like to start out at anything, and acting happens to be the world I know the best.
Great. So it was announced last week that Parenthood got renewed, which I'm very excited about because I love the show, but also because you were so productive as a writer while on set. So much more than you weren't.
Isn't that weird that I'm more productive with another
job? They always say if you want something done, give it to a busy person, like busyness
Yes.
sort of. But I wanted to hear about sort of your writing routine on set and off, I guess.
I think there's something about the Parenthood Day, which is where also where the idea to write came from, because sometimes I'm off for 3 hours or the afternoon or just the morning, or I have a day, and there's nothing really that can fill that time. I couldn't do a play, I couldn't like go shoot a movie. So I thought, what can I kind of give myself to have a creative outlet? And so this is what it was. And the easier thing about Parenthood is I have a trailer I have a TV that gets like 3 channels, and so there isn't much to do there. It's not an attractive trailer. There's no good art in there. The bathroom's terrible. There's nothing like to play with, so I would sit at my computer and it's quiet, and I did get a lot done there. So I'm glad that we have 22 episodes for me to continue to get things done.
Don't get cable or any art.
No. Well, I have cable, but it's
Okay. So this is obviously your first book. Was there anything that sort of surprised you about the writing process, or what was your favorite part or worst part?
It really, really surprised me how much would happen if I would just work. And it really surprised me how much the characters and the world would take on a life of their own and speak back to me at the risk of sounding insane, or sort of go in an unexpected direction. But as you, I think, said to me many times, like you can't revise something that isn't there. And so sometimes even when I didn't feel that I was saying exactly what I wanted to say, I tried to push through, and no matter what I came up with, it was better than nothing.
Yeah, that is true. Always better.
Yeah.
So did you find it isolating at all after, acting so collaborative, or did you like the creative independence?
I liked it both. I found it really isolating, and sometimes I would see friends or whoever at the end of the day, and I would feel insane. Like I would feel like I hadn't talked to anybody, and I would feel really strange. I didn't like sitting. That was I don't know if I have to get like one of those treadmill desks. It was was so crazy is to sit that long, because I haven't had a job that requires sitting, in a long time. So that was a strange. My body just felt kind of.
We're back. Can you see us?
Yay?
Yay. Okay. Hi. Sorry.
This is why technology sucks, you guys. This is what I've been saying all along. The video chat is confusing to me. It's still confusing. I don't understand what is going on, and thank you for sticking with us.
Yeah,
we'll stay here and we'll talk for a long time, to the point where you want us to shut up.
Okay. A little bit more from me, and then we'll open up to questions. Not to open myself up to complaints, but what was the editorial process? What you expected?
I actually, first of all, you're a wonderful editor.
Thank you.
And I learned a lot, and it was something that, it was a partnership I can see being fraught with. I can see being really difficult, because it really is a partnership. It really is somebody you need to work well with and trust. And I would say at times I actually expected. I was always like this about, Hollywood too. I always thought somebody was going to be like, it's terrible, it's horrible, you should throw this all out and start all over again. Like I expected scary, I expected you to be like, who do you think you are? You're insane. And you'd be like, no, I really like it. And I was like, remember in the beginning I had to be like, Jen, just because you like Parenthood, don't you be easy on me. You tell me if this is terrible. And you were very positive and encouraging.
Yeah.
And then also extremely exacting and precise, and I would say in some cases I didn't take your good ideas just because I was trying so hard to be independent and not feel like I was leaning. I really wanted this to be my success or failure, and it is.
It was good. I mean, I think the best writer-editor relationships, it's really a dialogue, and I feel like you have those authors who take every single note because they're like, you're my editor, of course I'm going to listen to you. And then you have the ones who are like, I'm an artist, I'm not taking anything. And you were sort of somewhere in between where you thoughtfully considered everything and then took the ones that you wanted to.
And I would say some of the most helpful, and now I see it myself, and I saw it really in reading when I read the audiobook, but there are a lot of habits I have, or even tastes I have, that have to do with working mainly from scripts.
Yeah.
So I really like dialogue, and it's harder for me to slow down and kind of set the scene and say, she picked up the pen and wrote on the thing, because my mind fills that in. As an actor, I'm used to thinking, ooh, and then I'll do this, or you get a stage direction, but so that was challenging to me to set the scene.
Yeah.
But I see, when I read the audiobook, there were places where I thought, this is a lot of dialogue, so I'll fix it next time. Oh well.
Yes. Well, you want to talk? So you're working. You're starting a new book, a second book.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that at all, or not really? Because you haven't.
No, I mean, I envision this character, this same main character, having her first year in Los Angeles, and in the way that she doesn't have like huge successes, or she doesn't become well-known or anything, but I would like the idea of at least this character, maybe some of the others, in Los Angeles for a year, whether she goes back to New York or stays in Los Angeles, I'm not sure, but I like kind of centering the world around the cast
Yeah.
of a show.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the show will succeed or fail
Yeah.
or what kind of show exactly
Yeah.
it is.
Don't
but
say anymore. That's
okay.
it. Don't give it all away.
Okay. And then at the end, you don't even have to buy it.
And then drama ensues. So actually, I want to talk about that. So was it hard for you to balance? The book is ultimately hopeful in terms of like prospects with acting, but was it hard to sort of balance that with the realities of it's obviously sort of a tough, it's a tough business. And I had a librarian, actually, I was talking about this book with a lot of librarians who said, is this book okay for my teenage daughter who's obsessed with theater? And I immediately was like, oh, it's totally fine. Like, it crosses over to YA. And she was like, no, I mean, like, is it going to crush her hopes in terms of wanting to be an actor? So how was it? Was it hard to sort of that? Because you did talk about, like, how it's baby steps and...
Yeah, I mean, I knew I wanted it to be a kind and hopeful story. And so I would never crush anyone's hopes and dreams on purpose. But yeah, to me, it's about the realities somewhat. It's about the realities of someone who really deserves to be there.
Yeah.
And still is going to face all kinds of difficulty. But yeah, I guess I wanted it to be encouraging, not just to somebody who's trying to be an actor, but to the idea of your 20s as a time when the learning curve for everything is huge and you don't know if you're going to get what you ultimately dream of, you know?
Yeah. This is, I know, not your favorite question in the world, but even though the book is fiction, there's obviously, it's sort of loosely based on your experiences. Do you want to sort of like set the record straight on how, like...
I mean, to me, I guess there's no... there's a piece of me in all of these characters, and that was part of the fun, too, of creating a world. There's a piece of me in the old asthmatic agent. There's a piece, so it's not just that main character. It's a world I know and like.
Yeah.
But it was similar to me, the process of acting, which is I started from things I knew and then kind of fictionalized a lot.
Which is like any debut novelist. I mean,
right.
I think there's, especially as debuts, there's always sort of a lot. And it's true. It's not just, I mean, everybody will go right to Franny, but it really is, it's sort of bits of everything.
But there's no relationship I'm trying to talk about. There was no, person who... None of the other characters are stand-ins for, a person in my real life. And so in that way, it's not like I'm writing a like I sort of thinly veiled a memoir or something.
So, okay, speaking of the old asthmatic agent, Barney, who's my favorite character, know that I love Barney. I was hoping my notes were more Barney. So he's really funny, and the book is really funny, and it's actually, even for funny people, it's not always easy to be funny on the page, and I feel like sometimes my notes to you were literally just like, be funnier. Yeah. And you did it immediately. But the book had sort of a lot of heart to it too. Did that come easily to you, the humor part? Was it hard to sort of balance the two?
It was hard to balance the two. I think I envisioned it more the way I speak, which is
I think a lot of people are probably envisioning
No, I know, and I hope you're not disappointed, but I found it hard to structure a 350-page novel in a snappy sort of voice that's not ultimately... I don't think it's sustainable necessarily. Yeah. I think it would have been easier in a memoir to write the way I, try to be on a talk show or something. But I was surprised at how much, nostalgia I had for this time, and that I wanted to bring some depth to these characters in this story. And, I will say so far in the work I've done on this next one, it is slightly brighter, I would say, and it's easier to make fun of LA. It's a place that is pretty funny, and I think in the parts of me that reached back to that time in New York, I feel a real affection for it, and it wasn't a funny time.
Yeah.
It was, and I think for most people, there's such vulnerability in starting out, and that's just kind of what came up to me. I think as this person grows and gets more confident and gets in more, like originally I conceived it as like a bunch of wacky scrapes of like audition mishaps, and it's just not what it turned into.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really the New York part. It's such a love letter to the city. I mean, it's so much fun to sort of the '90s thing where you have Times Square being this very dangerous place, and I kept calling you out on things like the McDLT.
Jen was like, I wrote about a McDLT. Does anyone know what this is? It was a sandwich McDonald's had in the 90s where the hot part was hot on the hot side, and then the cold part was it was kept your lettuce and tomato separate. Does anybody care about this?
People
People are like, no.
Yeah.
And then so you could have the two together and not, because we have such problems with our lettuce getting hot. What? And so I said McDLT, and Jen was like, do you mean BLT? I was like, no.
I never heard of a
No
McDLT.
person who's
But then
younger than me.
But then I went back and watched the commercials, and it seems like a pretty ridiculous sandwich.
Right.
So did you ever have a Filofax? And was it as,
Oh, yeah.
as doodled as...
Oh, yeah. I that's also
For those
something
who
that...
haven't gotten their order yet, there's Filofax. Do we have a book we could show?
Do we have a book? I just signed like the 10,000 million of them.
They're great. One of my favorite parts of the book is there are Filofax pages that are covered in Lauren's doodles throughout the pages. So did you have one?
A McDLT? Yes, I had Filofax, and so
Maybe we should show pages.
to show a more doodled page.
Yeah, more pictures.
It's something that is only recently gone out of use, which is that you had to write your appointments down, and then you would get, no, I'm going to answer this. Franny Banks has to do with, in the story, Franny and Zoe, the two Salinger short stories come into play, and that's partially where Franny's name comes from, in answer to somebody's question I just saw. But one thing I miss, and I've tried to revive it and it doesn't quite happen, is to write down my week, because at the end of the year you look at the pages and you can see the weeks that were full and the weeks that were empty, and
Doodle.
And just that tactile, and then at the end of the year you sort of I would put it away and I would get fresh new pages, and there's something that you don't have when you write it on your phone. Yes, let's all try to keep our appointments in a book. Doodled horses are doodles. I'm sorry, I get distracted by your good questions. Doodled horses are doodles because it's one of the only things I know how to draw.
You did it really well.
Thanks.
You wrote about it before you drew them, and I was wondering the whole process, how the horses and hats were going to turn out. They turned out really nicely. I was going to ask you how Franny and Zoe sort of made its way into the book, but also what are some of your all-time favorite books? Which is a question I actually have to say I hate, because it always, like, all the books you read go out of your head immediately.
Well, also, people keep asking me what's my most recent favorite book, and I keep saying the same thing, because once I started trying to work on my next book, I stopped reading because I feel too guilty, because I'm supposed to be working.
Yes, you are.
And so I don't know. I can't even give a list of favorite books necessarily. I just saw somebody say, "Oh, she looks so exhausted." Thanks, guys. Wow. Really feeling great.
She's been really busy. She's been running around New York.
It's wonderful lighting in here. Let me tell you, the overhead fluorescent I recommend it highly. I'm just going to do the rest of it like this.
Should we do some audience questions now, Kate?
Yes, let's do audience questions, because that's what I'm doing anyway. Wait, but what were you saying, though? Oh, favorite book.
Yeah.
Only that, again, in channeling a time of, in the world of being in your 20s and maybe a little earlier, that Salinger stuff was especially important then, and it's just always something that has stuck with me, and it's something, for a while it was even woven into the plot more, that she finds this huge parallel, and then it just didn't make sense. It's one of the things I sort of dropped. I love the character of Dan too, Christabel.
Dan's the best.
Who would I see playing him? I don't know, because all these people have to be in their 20s. It's like
who would
John
Krasinski
in his 20s.
Franny?
May Whitman,
and
May Whitman playing Franny. May Whitman, my TV daughter. Although May has such confidence, but she could act it. She could, I just see you need somebody like spunky and special. So yes, there's pictures at the signing, you guys, but we're figuring out how to do them. It may be like I'm sitting at a desk and you stick your head in, but we're going to do pictures for sure. I don't have my Filofax from 1995, or it would have come in way handy, because we put the art department to, it was a lot of work to get what I thought would be kind of a simple, thing. I would stand at the signing, but I have to sign. Oh, you did that for Guys and Dolls? You had to stick your head in? I'm sorry. We're trying to figure it out, but I'm not coming to the UK. Haven't read my editor's books. Are you kidding? I love them. They are wonderful, and you should read them too. out recently, This Is What Happiness Looks Like.
Thank you.
Come
My
on,
face is
people.
red now.
It's fun to do this with Jen because she doesn't get to do it as often, although you've done more author events than I have.
Yeah, but not on the
Yeah.
scale that you're doing.
But I like talking to you, so thank you for doing this because
Thank-
it helps me not feel nervous. Because I still I'm nervous. I am
You have to have
nervous.
the nervous, you know, like probably Kelly Ripa's not more like nervous than you when you're giving interviews. So if you have
I don't know.
something-
I don't know. You don't know. Maybe Kelly Ripa is nervous.
Maybe.
I had fun.
Probably
seeing
not
her,
as nervous as me though. So do we want to actually do some like video questions? Are we doing that?
Hi, Graham Crackers. I give you a shout out. I'm just going to rogue do questions that I say.
This has gone off the rails.
Woo!
The text ones, okay.
What has been the best part of this premiere week? Finally that it's here. I have been nervous and waiting, and I am excited to be talking to you and saying thank you to all the people who have been so sweet leading up to this, and it's exciting to sort of to be here.
It's a long process being a writer.
Oh,
Lauren, I mean,
it's
Lauren,
really long.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Lauren you started this book, you know, well over 2 years ago, and we acquired the book 2 years ago. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Different than TV where you're filming an episode and then it comes out.
Yes. Well, and even, I mean, sometimes you do a movie and it takes a while, but you can kind of move on and forget
Yeah,
about it in a
yeah.
way. And then also, it's, you know, a lot of other people's hands go into it, so by the time you see it, it's something else. It's not
Yeah.
just the last thing you did. It's, oh, there's music, and, you know,
Yeah.
they adjusted the color, and in this case, you can't blame the director, although I'm going to try. Fred is in California taking care of his child. Okay, the title. Oh, that's interesting. How do we come up with the title? Well, the title was originally Faster, Funnier, Louder, which is something Barney Sparks says to her and is also an old theater expression. And I thought it would be funny, given how much he speaks in cliche, that he gives her this profound advice that in a way is profound and in a way is the simplest thing. You know, it's like, there's no place like home or something. And
Yeah.
but the publishers felt that
blame the director.
blaming the director, the publishers felt that it felt too much like theater, like too inside and too.
And it was a little too punchy. Like the book has a lot of heart, and that was sort of
Yes.
set it up to be like this very
Right. Yeah. Sharp. It sounds sharp
we want to say a
somehow.
little bit wistful.
Yes.
But you came up with that in about 2. I was so scared
Well,
to tell
because
you.
I know that's right, and because I had actually thought that someday maybe was going to be a suggestion, because to me it's just a passage in the book where Franny is dreaming of someday when she will not be in this place where she doesn't have any money and doesn't have a job and doesn't have a boyfriend, and you know that someday she will feel like she belongs on, I think she's walking down Fifth Avenue, and I do like cheese balls, but not cheese balls. I like cheese Krispies, and I don't even like cheese puffs. I just thought cheese puffs is funnier, but I like crunchy cheese puffs, but I try not to eat them, but I do like them myself. Was I influenced by any of my high school English teachers? I would say I had, first of all, I was an English major at Barnard College, and that whole time was a huge influence on me, and I had a drama teacher named Brian Nelson in high school who was also just a very smart person who was a huge influence and is a writer himself now. Hi, Brian Nelson. That's nice of you. You guys are so fast. Did I ever accidentally walk into the wrong audition like Franny? Just not entirely, but I was trying to show the world of these confusing audition rooms where you always feel like you're in the wrong place, no matter what.
What was the worst audition you ever had?
I couldn't even pick one. I couldn't even pick one. Here's one that was really particularly horrible that I was talking about the other day. I auditioned for Mike Nichols. You know who that is? Giant director.
Yeah.
And I was so nervous, and I had prepared, but I was so nervous I left out an entire page of the scene, so it made no sense. I went from one line, and then somebody gave me the next line, and then I was like, but they're all wearing blue, or something like it made no sense, and he was so nice and didn't really say anything, and, I mean, didn't say that oh, you dropped a page, and, but I still think about it, because that was my one chance to audition for Mike Nichols, and it was over.
You brought a lot of emotional truth to this in the book.
Yeah,
Those
I know.
scenes are the fun. I mean, they make me. I've read this book probably. I can't even count how many times.
Oh
And
my
those scenes
God.
make me laugh out loud every single time.
You're nice. There will be more, because there's, no matter how many times you have a bad audition and think that you can't possibly ever go through that again, it will happen. And the phone rings, somebody's eating a sandwich, you get interrupted, there's a siren going off outside. I mean, it's just an endless parade of things that can
Fodder
go
for
wrong.
books.
Yes, fodder for books. Diane Keaton, here's the thing about Diane Keaton said to me one day, and it's in the acknowledgments in the book when we were doing the movie Because I Said So, you should write a book. And I thought, what? Why would she? What? But it's something about the power, don't ever forget it, of someone you admire lifting you up and saying something nice and giving and saying, I believe in you for no particular reason. I just do you like the water bottle? I don't know. She just saw. She just was encouraging, and it meant so much. You love the wedding polka dot cake in that movie. Sorry, I'm reading things.
They're moving really fast.
Yeah, they're moving really fast. There's not yet a book tour in Europe. I am going to Spain this summer. Come to Minnesota. I do regularly, but not for this book. Ray Romano or Jason Ritter. I don't know. I don't know if we have either of them for the show next year, so I can't even try get my hopes up to think about either story because we may not have the actor to do it. So Jason.
Wow. Maybe Sarah will get really career focused.
Sarah needs to stop sleeping on a pull-out bed. And anywhere from there, I would. Oh, Ray, nice.
Wow.
Okay, see, this is exactly how.
Equal.
Yeah, Ray for sure. How about Seth? I know, John Corbett. I haven't read 50 Shades of Grey. Am I the only person in the universe?
You're gonna make me blush again. Just talking about it.
I haven't read it. Jason, Scott Patterson. You haven't read it either?
Digger.
Chris Eigenman. Good one, Katie. What's more nerve-wracking, opening night on Broadway or debuting your first novel? I think they're all pretty nerve-wracking, and I would like to try to pick a next hobby or pursuit or career that was easier and not so scary. But I don't know. I also feel here's something about writing the book, completing it. I felt really, it is not perfect, but I was better at the end than I was when I started, and I thought, God, what else could this apply to? Like, if you just kind of put your mind to something and practice. And
it was incredible how much you were great to start with, which is why I wanted to buy the book, because you have a great voice that's sort of naturally funny and charming, and the characters were great, but it was amazing watching over the course of the couple of years we worked on it. By the end, it was just, it was a long time.
So take that, guys. No matter what, practice makes you better, if not perfect. It's not me on the cover of the book. It's a nice, we really, that was another thing where Jen was incredibly helpful with the cover. She found that photograph of the Brooklyn Bridge, and we needed a person on it, and we kept getting these examples of people who I just didn't feel looked like even the back of Franny,
For those who've read the book, they look like the perfume lady version of Franny.
It looked like an ad for someone, thinking about their life. And I was like, it's Spunky. She's got to have a life. And, and we looked for a girl on a bicycle, and it was hard to find. So we ultimately got someone to pose, and I'm happy with how it came
And the cover looks great.
Yeah.
Lauren and I designed it.
Yeah.
It doesn't usually happen that way.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to direct an episode of Parenthood. Peter has directed some great episodes, and I think I have enough careers for now. I think I have enough to focus on, but I would like to direct someday. Twitter. First of all, I love talking to you guys on Twitter. I love hearing from you. I love, especially on a day like today when I'm feeling nervous, to get your support and feel cheered on is really incredible. And then I get nervous sometimes when I feel I'm letting you down, I'm not tweeting enough, and who can forget Mike Austiello's criticism of me that he gave me a B on my tweeting. I'm seeing him this week. We'll discuss it. But no, it's been really fun and nice to hear from you. Oh, yeah, an A+. Thanks, Amber Martine.
A+++.
A+++. Thanks, Wushel. Wushel.
Are there any parts of the book you hope will really stand out to people?
Ooh.
Or any you're proud of?
I really like, to me, the sort of last third of the book, and, you know, I'm happy with how things kind of all came together.
Yeah.
I like the wedding scene that for a long time Jen was like, where's the wedding scene? Because I kept saying, then there's a wedding scene with Dan.
I would get this whole stack of pages, and it would be a fluid story, and then there would literally be a thing that's just this wedding scene, and then the rest of it, like, when are you going to write the wedding scene?
And then I wrote the wedding scene, and I like it. And I just like it as a relationship moment of, because I've definitely, and especially then, had strange things where you're like, am I with a friend? Is this something more? And, you know, those are always weird in your 20s especially. Writer's block for sure, and but not, I guess I think of writer's block as something you have, first of all, when you're already a published author, and then you go through a tough time where you feel like you can't write. I would have writer's block day when I had set aside a whole day to do my work, and I was like, I'm going to really get a lot done, and then I would not get anything done.
Google patio furniture.
And then I would Google patio furniture, and truly, I keep meaning I have to take a picture of the pantry of the Asian food ingredients, none of which I have used. If they made a Bad Santa 2, which for a while they were talking about making, hi Josie, Jossie, no, her name is Jossie, and I don't know, and there were like excited phone calls about Bad Santa 2, and then it never happened. Welcome to Hollywood, guys. It's only like half of what anybody ever says happens.
Yes, Jen's editing her next book too. I'm editing it too.
Yes, you're editing it too. Movie. I feel like if Someday maybe was anything, it would be a TV show. But I'm not really there yet, seeing as how it just came out today. But no, I mean, I can't help but think how much fun that would be. So I don't know. That's the kind of stuff that happens, I guess, after today. The movie I'm filming in Atlanta was great. I am done. They're still working on it. I think it's going to be, I mean, it's called right now A Friggin' Christmas Miracle. I don't know what it's going to be called. Yes, I can read that fast. You can bank on banks. You know what's funny about the first episode of the show, Christabel? You can bank on banks. You can bank on banks is a line in the next book I'm working on. Franny gets an article about her in the Hollywood Reporter, and that's the kind of title they would give it. My favorite color? It's blue. Hi, Robin S. The TV show that doesn't exist, that people are already asking me about, would be set in the 90s, yeah. But that would be the first thing they would argue about.
Yeah.
That would be the first budget thing to go. They'd be like, listen, it can't really be New York in the 90s. But we would try. What hair color do I prefer on May? I think she's beautiful no matter what. She's very brunette right now, which makes us look more alike for the show, which I think is nice. But I feel like she can get away with literally anything. Do I like Dolly Parton? Yes, I do. I would like to do Broadway again, but boy, is it tough, and I'm answering clearly a random slew of questions, but I figure that's what we're here for. Would I dye my hair ever? I've dyed my hair every color in the world, and it's so fried. I can't dye it anymore. Hi, Nora, Lizzie, and Mo. Will I be on Bunheads? I don't know. People ask me this. I don't think you need me on Bunheads. Sutton Foster's awesome, and I think it's such a wonderful show, and they don't need me. I love that Kelly Bishop, too. Fred has not read my novel yet. He's just starting it. I just gave it to him. Can we go to Mexico City for dinner? I'm in New York. You know what? I don't have a good Mexican restaurant to go to in New York. Anybody? I don't have a, do you?
Oh, no, I'm just expecting that.
Oh. My sister and I were trying to go out last night, and we really had a tough time figuring out a place to go. All right, what else, guys? How much? I can't go to dinner with you tomorrow. I'm sorry. American Idol, really? Oh, it's 2 a.m. Guys, go to sleep. My favorite thing to do in New York City is walk, and I'll tell you, and I'm not just saying this because of this. My favorite thing to do in New York City, which I try to do every time I'm here, is walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. It just makes me feel like I'm in New York, and I don't know. It's a nice. I have friends in Brooklyn. I can like go over and visit them. I can't hang out with you at the Random House Open House because I have to work, but I'll say hi and we'll take pictures.
Is Peter reading your book now?
He better be. No, I think he is. I have to say, I don't feel very, like, when I think of, I think this is, I hope that there are men who will read the book, and I hope that the men in my life, my boyfriend, my dad, and other good friends will read it, but it's, to me,
they're not your target demographic.
It's not the target.
Even though I said the opposite in your today.
Well, you were being politic, which is understandable, but
you've done it all: movies, TV, Broadway. Which is your favorite? And books and author. Which are the four?
I don't know. It's not. I don't think it's medium specific. It's more project specific. And some projects are just have a great life to them and have a great energy to them. This movie I just did was a ball and really fun and just a great group of people and all these shows. And Oliver Platt is in the movie, which was so fun because I hadn't worked with him since Guys and Dolls. He's my friend and I see him all the time. But I hadn't worked with him in another capacity in so long, and so that was really fun.
Yeah. So maybe one more question, just because Lauren has to go.
I have to go do yes, I have to go do Watch What Happens Live. But weirdly, not live because airing on Thursday. I'm probably not supposed to say that, but I am doing it tonight. I'm pretending like it's live on Thursday. This is part of Hollywood, guys.
So one more question.
Let's see.
Someone write a good one.
I'm doing Ellen on Monday. No, but that's also weird because it's airing on Tuesday. Ellen will air on Tuesday the 7th. What kind of advice would I give to young aspiring authors? You're so nice to ask me given that I am new at it myself. But I, again, was really moved by just set yourself a goal of words and just fill it and worry about how it all fits and how you're going to fix it later. In the same vein, advice to young actors would be there's so much you can do now that you couldn't do when I was starting out in terms of research. There's so much to see, and you should be educated in what's out there and what you see yourself doing and where you think you can fit, and you can read so much in great plays and scripts, and so just educate yourself as much as you can. And I think we're going to say good night.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks, Lauren, for chatting with us. Everybody, I know you all pre-ordered a copy of Someday Someday Maybe, but feel free to order a second one. Or an audiobook or a Kindle. Or an ebook. And
so brand specific.
But thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you all for being such great fans. I hope you all love the book.
Thank you to Germany. Thank you to Italy. Thank you to Norway. Thank you to everywhere. Brazil, Spain, Mexico.
Thank you.
Okay. Good night. Good night. Mwah.
Sorry.